Hi, I'm Kelly Forshaw-Smith, Head Medical Trainer for the Finishing Touches Group and Director and Technician of Medicos London. And today we have...
Caitlin James.
All the way from Australia. Caitlin entered the health and beauty industry in 2004. Since then, she's got a diploma of spa and beauty therapy, ran a private day hospital, including auditing and accreditation, spent over 11 years as a hair transplant assistant before she started her own Scalp Micropigmentation company in 2015. She's located in Adelaide, but also has clinics in Melbourne, 2 in Sydney, and 1 in Brisbane. So your topic today, Caitlin, is going to be starting out in the micropigmentation industry. So all the way from down under, we have Caitlin James. Welcome, Caitlin.
Thanks for the intro, Kelly. So happy to be here and chatting with you. It's certainly more nerve-wracking on this side of the interview than being the interviewer.
we did this not so long ago, but the other way around. So I now know what you were doing.
It's much easier being in your position.
I think it is actually. Okay, so Caitlin, let's talk about like someone starting off in the industry. I think people all want to know. Let's talk about business branding.
Excellent. Really love business, and I love helping people who are starting out in the industry. So fire away.
Okay, so with business branding, how do you decide on a name?
It's always great to either pick what you do and where you are, keep it simple and basic, or go with perhaps a name that represents you, like your own name. There's 2 sort of schools of thought on picking a business name. Something that you can sell later on should be considered. So maybe branding yourself personally is not an ideal name for a business that you wish to perhaps build and sell. But if it's something that you always want to retain and keep more boutique-y kind of business, then maybe choosing your own name within the business name is also a good idea.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So just thinking about long-term what you might want to do with your business and your company, depending on, what you want for your long-term as to what you might choose.
What about like a logo then? Is that the same kind of idea? Choose a logo that you can sell on?
Ideally, if you want to sell the business long term. So picking something that, doesn't represent you, too personally may be a good idea if you wish to sell the business. But maybe if it's just your own boutique business, then maybe choosing a really beautiful script or a signature that's really popular right now. That might be a nice way to watermark images and sort of brand out your business.
We're going to go on to watermarking and trademarking and so on later. But with the, is there any kind of fonts or colours that in your experience stand out?
I always think something classic, something that's not going to age badly is a good idea. So there's obviously, trends with colours and things like that. Maybe picking something more classic that will last longer is great, because you don't want to be changing your branding and your logo and your colours too often. The idea with branding is that you make it recognisable, so something that you're not going to change long term. You could make little tweaks over time, implement a little bit of colour here and there, but something that's always going to stay your brand and true to your brand. Try and pick something a little bit more classic, no bright colours, something maybe in the medical colours is always nice, because they always tend to reflect the professionalism of the branding of medical. So something in like the blues and greens always age well as well, because they're more medical colours. But just if you're branding out the business to be your own personal brand, maybe picking your favourite colour is always good, because then you won't dislike it over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, maybe something that's kind of a little bit more gender neutral, if you're doing males and females, old and young, something that everyone will appear to have. Like, obviously, if you had a bright pink, baby pink, kind of very girly kind of writing, and then you're going into scalp, maybe that wouldn't be the ideal person to target it to. No, definitely.
Absolutely, because you might change your business as well going forward. You might bring in more services. So you might start out off in PMU, but then branch into scalp micropigmentation. So as you said, keeping it neutral opens that door to, gender neutral branding later on down the track if you change direction.
She did that when they grew. They went, obviously it ended up doing the scalp and all the rest, and they went from, they had a little bit of like purple in one of the logos, white with one and grey with another, but they kept the logo the same, so they just added it when they got the new divisions. That's quite a nice idea to do. So with policies, what are there any rules in your clinic and yourself that you should stick by?
I think always keeping professionalism. So, it's really important to think about, what could go wrong with certain situations, becoming too friendly with, clients and things like that. I think always keeping it really professional is very, very important. So set some boundaries with when people can contact you. Obviously someone starting out in the business, you do go above and beyond for every single client because you want to retain those clients and give everyone a great experience. But you do need to shut off, after 5 o'clock or after 7 o'clock at night, and just set boundaries of when people can contact you. I think in this day and age with email and Facebook and Messenger and Instagram, there are so many different ways that people can contact businesses. Right from the very beginning, it's great to sort of set the boundaries of when people can contact you, when you pick up your phone and answer the queries, because it can swallow you. It can, we've all been there, it can get very overwhelming, responding to people, in a timely manner, of course, but you do need to set the boundaries of when you need to turn off from work time and relax with personal time.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more with you on that one. I've been there, done that, and got the t-shirt, probably like yourself. So with licensing as well, I mean, obviously from state to state, country to country, it's all slightly different, but how do you find out what your legislations and your legalities are?
Yeah, always look for your government website. So look for something with authority. Googling intellectual property, you should be able to find, how to trademark, say, your logo or your business name. Registering a business name here in Australia is not good enough. You need to trademark so that someone else can't then, create a logo very similar to yours. So it's really important to take that extra step and actually trademark businesses' names, logos, or even catchphrases if you don't want anyone else to take them. So do your research, spend, a good couple of hours trolling through your government websites to find out what rules they are, because if someone does happen to take, a business name of yours, always go to the highest sort of level of intellectual property protection. So always Googling and finding out the right information, because ultimately it falls back on you. So you need to do your own research and find out the correct avenues you need to go down to protect your business name and company and logo and catchphrases long term.
Is trademarking like copywriting? Is it the same thing?
It is. Obviously, there's different, I'm sure all around the world, there's all different levels of trademarking, and international trademarking is different to, what we have here in Australia. If I wanted to brand my business internationally, I'd need to, take further steps to do so. So you'd need to research and find out the right information, what is specific for your country, as well as internationally if you wish to go even bigger and spread your wings and do something internationally.
Because for ages ago, I wanted to trademark or copyright a technique that I use for my medical work. And I was told that all someone would need to do, I could trademark it, but all someone would need to do is basically, I don't know, add a tick, or a dot extra and say, oh, this is a new technique. It's slightly different. Do people still do that? Or is there a way to actually proving without it costing?
I think they do. They do try and put a different... Yeah, they do try and put a different spin on it, but there needs to be a certain degree of difference. So, you can always appeal the decision. You can always try and sue somebody as well if you feel like you have grounds that they're too similar to your own trademark. So there are avenues that you can go down if you feel that someone's in breach of your copyright or of your trademark.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go with the areola work, and then all of a sudden someone has added a dot, or they do it slightly different, and I take it as a compliment, to be honest, but I can see obviously business wise that I could be a bit more savvy.
Yeah.
So what about websites? So if you're starting off, do you recommend that someone who's just starting should build a website, or should they rely just on social media to begin with?
Yeah, to begin with, obviously money is a big factor for many people, and so if you don't have financial backing, you do need to obviously work within your means. It's not great to spend more than you have. You don't want to ever put yourself in a position where you're struggling to make ends meet if you've overcommitted. So do what you feel comfortable with. As soon as the funds arise to be able to do something like a website, I would really advise it. It just does give you credibility, more information for your client, and other, easy contact information for them to be in contact with you to book that consultation. So I would advise on a website. Times are changing. I think Facebook and Instagram are just not enough anymore. People want more information.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you think it's a good time at the moment, with the world going crazy, to get into doing micropigmentation?
Yes and no. I think it's a great time to be doing lots of study and practicing and building your business, using the time wisely that we have, practicing as much as you can on, mediums at home with your equipment and machines, even coming up with, beautiful background bits and pieces like aftercare and forms and things like that. So you can really utilize this time to set up your business and then work on your hands-on as soon as, this crazy period finishes and you can work again if you're in lockdown currently. But I guess with anything, like, you need to think of financial security. So it's not, it may not be the right time for many people to quit a job that they have currently and step into a world of PMU if they've got no clientele or they don't have a job to go to. So yes and no, it depends on own personal situation, but like many of us, like yourself right now, doing little things to help build your business, while you can at home. Many of us permanent makeup and scalp micropigmentation artists are always so busy hands-on in our business doing treatments and things like that. So for me, this was a very welcome break from doing treatments to working on my business, which I absolutely love doing.
Good. And what about the technicians and people who have just trained, say, like maybe they trained in February and then obviously this has all happened in the March and so on. Any tips that you can give them? Just, I guess, keep practicing. Is that what you mean?
Keep practicing, but also maybe get back in touch with your training college and see if you can then do like a keeping in touch day with skills. So, information that you learnt back in February that you didn't really get to then dive into the industry and practice and get good at, you might want to go back and just do a refresher or even do some mentoring days or shadowing days, just to, rewatch what you've learned to then, have that confidence to go back and then start treating clients on your own.
Yeah, I think maybe the Zoom obviously helps as well, because obviously you could see your trainer, they're not working, possibly you're not working. So in which case, you could catch up on Zoom or catch up on any of the other FaceTime ways, and then maybe practice from there.
Yeah, or even take more online training. So, hands-on training is always king, but, there's nothing stopping you from doing more online training with other artists, seeing how they work, getting more ideas. So there's so many sort of online trainings that have come out this year to help everyone and helping people like us here in Australia who can't easily just pop over to London or the US to do further training. Zoom trainings are amazing for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Also, so once you've got the clientele, what's the best way of keeping that clientele, would you say?
Always giving amazing service. I think, giving everyone, positive experience, so that they talk about you. Word of mouth is always your best form of advertising. So doing whatever you can to give amazing service so that they remember you, make it a very positive experience. Going through permanent makeup or scalp micropigmentation on a whole is always very exciting. I'm so blessed that, every single day I get to change someone's life for the better with, the art that we do.
No, definitely. I mean, I always say to my trainees, just like the tiny tips as well, like things like when a patient comes in or a client comes in, you smile at them, give them eye contact as soon as you see them. It instantly relaxes someone. And then you welcome them through, let them walk in, you know, past you first, let them go in first. Things like, you know, saying, I bet you're excited, or did you have to travel far? Do you need the bathroom before you begin? Like just things of making it a treatment, because that's what it is essentially. It's a treatment. It's like a little bit of pamper. It's a bit of them time. Some people, they've got crazy lives. We all have crazy lives. And then they've come there and then they've got an hour, 4 hours, 5 if you're with my scalp. And then from there, then they can relax, take it easy and zone out, and they can be somewhere else. Yeah, definitely an experience it should be. So also, is there any positive tips that you would give anybody who's started in the industry or thinking of starting in the industry?
I think if you're a people person, you'll absolutely love this. So always treat people the way that you would want to be treated. I think that's some great advice that I was given very early on, and it served me well. Always treating people the way you want to be treated is essential. So yeah, I hope that helps someone.
Definitely, I think it would help me. So you're obviously a very busy lady. So with the whole COVID thing that's gone on, you've got different people in different centres that are around Australia, have you?
Yes, we do, yep.
Very good. And will you be able to travel, or you can't travel at the moment with Australia, can you?
It's changing all the time. So we have border restrictions and we don't have border restrictions, and then they go up again. So, you know, we have just to keep watching the news because it changes, you know, every couple of weeks here. So it's a bit crazy. It's a little bit sad that I don't get to see my normal interstate clients that usually pop over to Adelaide this time of year, and I'll normally get to see them, but that's all right. Hopefully we'll catch up in 2021.
Absolutely. Also, what happens if you had a client in, just off the top of my head, if you had a client in who was giving you the red flag and you thought, oh, I don't think, you know, I want to be doing this person. Any tips on how to politely decline a patient?
Yeah, look, it's great to be honest with your client. I feel like it's best to explain that you don't feel like you can meet their expectations. And that would be my way forward to, you know, recommending perhaps that they look at more artists and interview more artists to find someone that feels like they can sort of reach what result it is that they're looking for.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you do referrals as well? Like not just obviously, so say for example, you don't do medical. Do you do referrals to a medical technician and they refer back to you, or do you go to local hairdressers, barbershops? What's a good way of getting yourself out there with referral system?
Yeah, I think this day and age there's two things. So obviously in your local area, it's great to connect with, like I have some really great barbers across the road from where I work. So, you know, quite often walk the guys over, you know, if they need something from the barbershop, you know, the surgeon that I used to work with for hair transplant, you know, I have that amazing connection, and he works in multiple states here in Australia. So I have a connection with the hair transplant world, or medication management. So I think networking is not dead. It's very important to face-to-face network with professionals in your industry that you can personally refer from a great experience someone has had, or that you might have had. But also, you know, with my interstate locations, it's great to connect with people on something such as Instagram and finding, you know, someone who does amazing laser tattoo removal, because we get a lot of repair work throughout, not so much in Adelaide, but in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. And so it's great to connect via something like Instagram to introduce yourself to, you know, a clinic and say, look, I've got these people, this is what we do. And in turn, like if they're removing or repair, like laser removing other scalp micropigmentation work, you know, they often refer people then to then come and try us, you know, for our results. So all these little things, either it being on social media or face-to-face, are really important. As well as attending lots of conferences. So the permanent makeup industry here in Australia, it's great to go along to those conferences and meet the people behind the Instagram pages. to connect with them face to face, have a drink, get to know them better. So, you know, you just make those connections even stronger.
Yeah, no, 100%. Absolutely brilliant words of wisdom there, Caitlin. Thank you so much for all of your information and sharing all of your tips. And yeah, if anyone wants to subscribe or write comments below, then we will get back to you. Caitlin, thank you so much. Stay safe and look after yourself.
Thanks so much, Kelly. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much for putting this channel together. I'm sure that you're helping lots of PMU and permanent makeup artists, you know, all over the world, and scalp micropigmentation artists. So well done.
Oh, that was even better said. You definitely need to take this job. Caitlin, thank you so much. Lots of love, and we will speak to you very soon.